Hey everybody, I'm just making this quick video to show you how you could do example 3 or a problem like example 3 if you do not have a TI-84 or a TI-83 calculator. So what happened in this example is we're doing a hypothesis test for a single population mean. But in this example, we're using t-scores instead of z-scores. And the reason we're using t-scores is because we do not know the population standard deviation. We know the sample standard deviation. So in this example, we can see that we have a sample. We have a sample mean of 163 and a sample standard deviation of 25. So I'm going to fast forward in this video because when we get to step 3 in this video, we're looking for our critical values. And our critical values depend on our degrees of freedom. The degrees of freedom in this example was 42 because it was it was the sample size minus 1. But if we were to look on our T-chart table, so the table that looks like this, if I go to the degrees of freedom being 42, that doesn't show up on this table. It jumps from 40 to 45. So I showed you how you could find that in the calculator, the critical value in the calculator, and it came out in the calculator to be a negative 2.01, and so we used the positive value, and I guess it came out to be about 2.02. So you can see those two critical values showing up there. But I want to show you how you could do that on Stat. So if you wanted to find those two critical values on StatCrunch, you would go to Stat. We're doing t-stats here. We're using the t-distribution, and we just have one sample. We will eventually see examples where we have two samples, but right now we only have one sample. This is a single proportion test, and I'm going to click on with summary because we have a summary of our data. And what I mean by a summary is we know the sample mean was 163 in this problem, the sample standard deviation was 25, and our sample size was 43. We were doing a hypothesis test for mu, for a single population mean. Our hypotheses were that mu were equal to 150 and that mu were not equal to 150. We could change this second option for the alternative hypothesis depending on if we had a right, left, or two-tailed test. Do not click on confidence interval because we're not doing confidence intervals anymore. We are doing a hypothesis test. That's what we want to perform. And I'm going to click to show the critical value. And I do want to show the critical value because that's what we're trying to find here. And I'm just going to go back in the video to remind you that in this problem, the significance level was 5%. So I am keeping the significance level at 5%, and I'm going to click compute. And then here where it says critical T, I can see it's giving me 2.018. That's the same thing that the calculator gave us, 2.018. And that's rounds to 2.02, which is how we could find those critical values if we were using StatCrunch instead.